I wanted to maybe just point out the Michael Moore movie, which is coming out regarding capitalism. Now, there's going to be much fury launched after this film in regards to Michael Moore and his movie. That's going to be totally predictable from the outset. I would like to recommend to everyone that you see the movie. I personally haven't seen it, but knowing Michael Moore and his films for many years, ever since he began making movies actually, I would urge you to see it, because most of the time, from my perspective, Michael Moore has always been for the little guy. And although he still makes the mistake, or seemingly at this point, that he is still enamored of the Democratic Party, Obama, and so on, I think you all need to realize that making a movie like this takes about 2 years. You have to, gather your information and interview the right people. It takes a long time to produce a movie like this, about 2 years. And many of his other movies have been like that. Michael Moore was the first guy who took on Enron, the entire Enron scam, before it even showed up on the national radar screen. And he was completely right about this. In fact, I used to watch a show that he produced. It was called TV Nation. Came on very late at night, probably around midnight or 1 a.m. or something, on some Houston television station. And it was probably one of the most satirical and poignant shows that you would ever see on TV. The equivalent right now would be probably Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert. This guy was the forerunner of these shows. And he received very little credit for it because everybody thought he was a fucking idiot. Well, he's not a fucking idiot. He correctly pointed out the takeover of our system of government in terms of all sorts of lobbying efforts from the big guys, which are undermining our civil society. And that's what his programs in large have been all about. He's been kind of wishy-washy on some issues, like his movie, the movie about the Columbine shootings and so on, which really didn't say too much about anything. But I would, I'm going to see the film. It is the kind of anger that we should all be feeling against the system. And I'm saying this because I know the kinds of films that Michael Moore makes are for the benefit of the little people. Now, he'll immediately get some criticism for this because, he himself is making money from these movies. But I would like to point out that he pours that money that he makes from these movies into other projects in order to educate other people. It's not some sort of a ridiculous propaganda project on his point. Although, in my view, I think he's been a little bit too naive in terms of the Democratic Party, which he takes on in this film, by the way. I've seen several clips so far. And that's a good thing. He should be taking on the Democrats who are no longer standing up for us little guys. And that's a good thing. He actually also did this during his movie Fahrenheit 9/11. And whatever you want to think about this film, and I myself have not watched it by now, but I will soon, please see it from a different perspective than just ranting and raving against big government, when in actuality our government is controlled by big corporations. And to rant and rave against big government all the time becomes an oxymoron when you no longer realize who controls this government. So I think Michael Moore, as usual, has some very good points, and I wish this would become a kind of national movement, angry enough at the upper 1% which are controlling this nation and many others, and in contrast to, perhaps the teabagging movement, which is only concerned about their own taxes, how many things they have to pay for, and basically a kind of me attitude, while proclaiming to be for everybody else. I don't think it's that simple. So I'd like to hear from people after they see the movie to see what they think of it. I'll be seeing it soon, but I do want to urge you to see that movie, because it may actually turn things around. Who knows? I mean, I doubt it. Movies and art can contribute, but they hardly ever turn things around. But and I'm not calling Michael Moore an artist. I mean, he would laugh at me if I told him so. But please take a look and look at some of the stuff that's being shown in this film without prior judgment about the guy. And he's going to get plenty of bullshit from the MSN. I can guarantee you from the very beginning. This movie opened today in national theaters, and this guy is going to be trashed by the MSN. It's so predictable at this point, you can only laugh at it. But please, open your minds a little bit, and maybe look at some of his previous shows, like TV Nation, Roger and Me, taking on the big corporate elites. And that was 20 years ago, my friends. Good night.